This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Hello, joining us today at Stockbox is Craig Foster, CEO of Ondo InsurTech. Craig, great to have you back with us here at Stockbox.
Hey Pam, nice to be invited back.
Oh, it's great to have you back with us. Now, you spoke to my colleague Mark back in January, and things have been happening in the background since then, which have now come to fruition. We're going to have a chat about that today. But we'll come on to talk about some of the news that you've had recently. But first of all, I'd just like to recap a little bit about your product, LeBot. You've got a product called LeBot. Tell us a little bit about that. What does it do? What is LeBot?
Well, our vision at Ondo is to become the world leader in claims prevention technology for home insurers. So what that is all about, Pam, is if you think on home insurance, there's a whole host of different things that cause claims on those products, and insurers pay out literally billions of pounds a year to just put properties back how they were before. And there's an emerging trend of applying technology to actually manage that risk and prevent some of those things from happening. So we've got a really interesting solution called LeBot that's specifically designed to mitigate the problem of water damage claims. I've got one here. I'll show it to you. So this is a sensor technology that we invented, and we own the patents on this around the world. And it's a unique way of detecting leaks in a house. So if you think where the water enters the property, where the stop tap is, insurers send this out for free as part of a policy, and then you clip it to a pipe, and that single unit can detect a leak anywhere on a mains water system, and it's really sensitive, can just detect like even a small drip. And then what we've done is we've built a fully integrated system. So if you had a leak in your home, Pam, we'd alert you, and you'd be able to book a plumber through the app that would then come and fix the problem, and all of that would be free and paid for by your insurance company. So we work with now 15 insurance companies around the world. They pay us a recurring fee in the background to provide that service. And the reason that they do that is because if you just take the US and the UK, they pay out £15 billion a year fixing properties from water leaks. So it's a huge cost. And with our technology, we've proven we can deliver a return on investment and hugely mitigate those claims and prevent them from happening in the first place.
That's a lot of money. And before you gave me that figure, I was just going to say that this is a huge issue. And it's funny that you should say that if I had this in my property. I've recently just moved into a new house, and I could have done with this because I have had I've had a problem with the water pipe. So it sounds great. So when you're saying that you've got insurance companies that are taking this on, this is some of recent news that you've had. You had some great news. Selective Insurance Group. In the last few days, some news has just come out to say that you've signed an agreement with Selective Insurance Group. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, sure. I think the RNS went out last Wednesday to say that we signed a new contract with Selective. So they wanted to keep most of the contract details confidential. So there's not a huge amount of information in the RNS other than that we signed a contract with them to supply LeBot to their customers in the United States. But they're another big US insurer. They're a $6 billion market cap, NASDAQ listed insurance company in the United States. They're mostly focused in the northeast of the US with regards to their homeowners insurance. But that's the fourth big insurance company that we've signed in the last 9 months in the United States. We signed a deal with Mutual of Enumclaw, another one with Pure Insurance. And then the big one was Nationwide. They're a Fortune 100 insurance company operating across the whole of the US, one of the biggest financial services companies in the United States. And we signed a deal with them and announced that before Christmas. And that's created a huge amount of interest in the United States specifically. I mean, they spend so much money. It's about $200 for every home on average that they ensure that they're paying out on escape of water claims. When they happen, on average, they're about $12,000 or $13,000 to fix a property. And to get the kind of backing of somebody like Nationwide is created a huge amount of interest. I'm actually going out there, Pam, in not next week, the week after, with our US general manager. And we're starting in Seattle and then working our way across the whole of the US and to see how many insurance companies can we meet in the space of a week. So there's
What's the target? What's the target, Craig? How many are you going for?
I think we're going to try and do, but they're all in different locations. So I think we're going to try and do 7 or 8, but it's a bit of a grueling schedule, but it's going to be a fun week. But, US insurers are really looking for a solution to this. They've tried other things, expensive plumbed in solutions that are, $500 and need a professional install. And there's just no real business case for things like that. So we've got a real unique solution to this problem. You can offer it for free to the homeowner. The service, then we go in and find and fix the root cause of the problem, and they can offer all of that for free and deliver a return on investment. So, the prospects for us out there in the US are really, really exciting.
Yeah. And I mean, just streaming it back down to Selective Insurance Group, how big is this exactly? How many homeowners will you have access to just through them?
Well, unfortunately, I can't really say much more than what's in the RNS.
Right.
We always have this dance with a partner where we'd like to disclose lots of information in the RNS, and they always have to approve it. So they're often a bit more coy about how much detail to put in. So, but I think we've got a very engaged retail investor base, and they're pretty good at doing the research and finding things out. So as they're a public company, so there's lots of information that's out there.
Yeah. Well, let's bring it closer to home, because you've also just had some other news just released about Southwest Water. So, let's bring it back to the UK here. Big news. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so this is an RNS that went out just this morning about a new partnership with Southwest Water, obviously in England. So Southwest supply water to 1.8 million people mostly in like Cornwall and Devon, and they and in addition to about 5 million tourists, I think, who visit that part of the country every year as well. That's our third water company that we've done some activity with. We've done some work with Portsmouth Water, with Southern Water. So the context here, Pam, is although it rains a lot in the UK, we don't think of ourselves as being a water-stressed country. Like the rest of the world, water resources are coming under increasing pressure, driven by population growth, by climate change. And it's particularly stressing the south of England, especially. And so there's some big questions been raised at government level by the regulator about, well, how are we going to deal with this problem? One of the ways that you can deal with the problem is by reducing household demand in the first place. And this is where we step in, because can you believe it? 8% of toilets in the UK are leaking. So, when you go to the loo and you see water just running down the back of the pan a little bit.
Yes.
That doesn't look like a huge amount of water, but when that's happening in one toilet, on average, that wastes over 200 litres of water per day.
Wow.
So
per day.
Yeah. So if you think 8% of toilets have that problem, if you add that together, if you were to fix all the toilets in the UK, they're wasting collectively 400 megalitres of water per day, which I know it almost like doesn't really mean anything. But to put that into context, that's enough fresh water to meet the needs of 2.8 million people. So that's the population of Birmingham, Manchester, Sheffield and Leeds combined, if we just could fix the toilets. So what we're going to do with Southwest Water is it's a kind of quick hit intervention where they want us to deploy 6,000 units into a particularly water stressed part of their region. And they basically want us to find and fix as many of those toilets as we can in a short space of time to make an intervention in the water consumption. So that's kind of an experiment that they want to run to see if that's got broader applicability across their area. And it comes on the back of lots of interest we've had from water companies, where it hasn't been our main focus, really. We've always focused on the insurance industry use case. But we ran a trial with Portsmouth Water where we showed that we could reduce leakage in their properties by 60% in a 6-month period. And
60%, and is that per household?
Yeah, 60%. Yeah, we obviously not every property's got a leak, but if you measure the leakage before and after, we could reduce that by 60%. In a 6-month period. So yeah, when you add that up, that there's this much broader problem in the UK about how do we reduce pressure on our water resources, it leaves us really well placed, because we've got something that's genuinely scalable that we could, if there was willing there at government level, we could put this in across the whole country, and make a really material environmental benefit there and reduce the pressure on the UK's resources.
So with South West Water taking 6,000 units on, and as you mentioned, you've previously trialled this with Portsmouth. So this is going out free to the customer, right?
Yeah.
So am I right in saying that it's saving water, it's saving money as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not everyone in the UK is on a water meter. I don't know what percentage it is in Southwest, but if you're, I can't remember the exact number on average of how much that's costing you in the UK, but it's if one of those toilets is leaking, it's a material. If you let that go for a year, and it's quite easy to ignore that. I mean, people don't often even notice that it's happening. It can make a material dent in your water bill as well.
Yeah, and that's really important right now with cost of living crisis and everything else that's going on as well. So it helps people on that level as well.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't realise, Pam, is that in this country, that especially when we haven't had a history of everyone paying on water meters, and because it rains a lot, I think we don't value water quite as much as some other parts of the world. Yeah. But I think increasingly there's more consumer attention around this, and one of the reasons is because if you use too much water in an area, it starts to over abstract water from local rivers and streams, where you go and walk your dog or go for a walk at the weekend with the kids. And that's actually something that really engages people, because when they realize that using too much water in your house has a direct, immediate impact on the environment where you live, that makes it a bit more meaningful, makes people care a bit more.
Yeah. So you're working with water companies here in the UK. You've mentioned the good news that you've had about Selective Insurance Group out there in the States. You've also talked to me about how you're planning on going to the States, and you're going to see how many insurance companies you can meet in a week. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that as well, actually. But you've got so much going on, but also didn't you get shortlisted for an award recently?
Yeah, that's right. We were shortlisted for a breakthrough of the year at the PLC Awards, reviewing the 2023 period. And so we were quite surprised to be shortlisted. I mean, it's really cool. It's quite an honour to be shortlisted for that. I mean, honestly, I don't think we're going to win. We're up against one of the other shortlisted companies is Rolls-Royce. I checked. I think they've got about £30 billion market cap, so they're like more than 1,000 times bigger than we are. So I'd be surprised if we win. But I've been invited to sit at the London Stock Exchange's table. They're hosting a table, so obviously we've not got the budgets to go pay for a table at these fancy black tie awards, but they've invited me to sit at their table. So you never know, Pam. Fingers crossed. Anything
can happen, Craig. Anything can happen, and we'll be watching your progress here. But no doubt you'll be back on to talk to us at Stockbox. I am looking forward to hearing about your travels across the States and how many insurance companies you actually managed to speak to in that time. But thanks for your time today, Craig. It sounds like you're on to exciting times. There's a lot happening with LeBot, with Ondo. So thanks for coming on and talking to us about it here at Stockbox.
Thanks, Pam. Yeah, nice to meet you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.